Ozzy, this week let's talk about motivation.
Love it.
The reason I picked this one was just because I had somebody talk to me about recently about the fact that their motivation has changed over the years, and I've kind of forgotten about this. That reminded me of that conversation. When I started in sales in 1982, I was working out of a one-bedroom apartment in Worcester, Massachusetts, or Worcester, as we say in
Worcester.
Boston, Worcester. And I was paying $230 a month in rent. Yeah. And then my landlord one day said to me, "You got to raise your rent." He went to 240. I was like, "Oh my God!" That's like nothing now, right? It's not even a car payment.
Oh my
But I
gosh.
remember being motivated by fear. I was terrified to fail. That meant going home, and that meant saying I can't do this, and that meant what am I going to do with a 1-year lease? I mean, I really was highly motivated.
Mm-hmm.
People who get motivated by that, unfortunately, when they start to succeed, Kelly, what happens to that?
Well, the motivation goes away because you get comfortable. The enemy is comfort. The enemy is satisfaction, or the enemy is going like, "Hey, this is pretty good. I could get by on this."
Yeah.
That's like the worst possible place to be if you really want to achieve in sales.
Exactly, exactly. So motivation's got to change because, as the book says, what got you here won't get you there. So I really think that fear is a terrific motivator. It really is. There's an upside to terror, an upside to panic, where you're driven by that. It's not terribly healthy. I wouldn't want to keep it going all the time, but I can't think of a more effective, I won't say better, but I can't think of a more effective motivator than that internal, oh my gosh, I need to do this because I'm going to fail. Now that's different, Kelly, than me walking in saying to 10 salespeople, by the end of the month, one of you is going to be gone.
Yeah, I was going to say there is a big differentiator between internal fear and external fear.
Right.
And we're talking to all kinds of people, not just the people who have the ability to wield that fear over people. So it's good to stay. I mean, in that internal place of, well, really it is about, I want more, I want bigger, I want better, I want
Right.
more than what I have right now. Some of you out there are driven by the recognition of that, to be the number one sales guy. I just actually wrote my blog. Not sure when this one's coming out, but it's about the 5 sales archetypes of
It's out
stars.
now. I saw it now.
Yeah, it's out there now. But some people, it's just everybody's different. But whatever it is that really drives you, recognition, being a star, being number one. It's important to keep that present and know what it is.
Sure. So, but basically, there are two motivators, right? The carrot and the whip. And the whip is fear. The whip might also be the boss, right? Kelly,
Yeah.
you bet. The Glengarry Glen Ross thing.
Right.
That Alec Baldwin standing there screaming at you.
Yeah.
The whip might be accountability.
Yeah.
Accountability as a motivator might do it as well.
Or just whatever your family's necessities are too.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty big too. You've got one of my clients told me several years ago, and I hope I'm not like breaking any laws by saying this, but he's like, my best sales guy's got a pregnant wife and a big mortgage. Like that's what people, owners want, people who are desperate. Like, I got to feed these babies and I got to keep I got to keep the house going. So
Yep. I get motivated 4 times a year, one by Quinnipiac University and one by NYU Shanghai.
right.
Those airline tickets off to Ghana for the fall are going to be pretty high. And yeah, that's motivation. You put a kid in college and you're just, oh, you're kidding me.
Yep.
I'm going to pick up the phone. I remember once I wanted a sailboat and I put a picture of the sailboat right by my phone. Well, there's my carrot. To
Yep.
say every time I reach for the phone, I'd look at the sailboat and I'd think, okay, this sail is one more step closer to that. So I think that's a very good motivator. And there's 2 ways of doing that, Kelly. I've done that both ways where, you know what, I'm going to make the sale and then I'm going to get the boat. Well, I also went out one day and bought a convertible.
And then just figured out you got to figure out a way to pay
Yes.
for it.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh my gosh, my wife was so mad at me. It was a blue Jeep Wrangler, like a 92 or something like that. And I came home with it and she looked at me, she said, "That better be a loaner."
Nice.
So, I mean, it's great to have carrots too. We all, we should be money motivated. We want things. I have a list actually that I'm looking at I'd love to get a rear seat for my motorcycle that's sitting behind me here. You know,
Yep.
that's on my list. It's like $250. So I might say, hey, you know what? If I can put back-to-back great months together, I'm going to go out and buy that.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a good thing. It doesn't have to be a long time to wait for this. You can say,
Right.
you can go weekly. You know,
Yep.
and it doesn't have to be results, right, Kelly? You could say, if I make 20 calls a day for 5 straight days, I'm going to buy myself lunch.
Yep.
Something like that, a small motivator. So,
And they're all going they're all getting you in the right direction. All that kind of stuff. Because that's what I always say to my clients. You can either manage results or you can manage activities.
Yeah.
So the activities are going to lead to the results if they're the right activities. Absolutely.
right. And you know, the thing to remember here is that your motivation changes as time goes on. So truly what got you here won't get you there. Well, your motivation might have been fear, but then it's got to be something else, and that's going to change too, and that's going to change, and that's going to change. And I get calls from veteran salespeople who say, there's nothing motivating me. You know, and unfortunately, when they lose that big account, they'll be right back in the game. So find yourself something. If you need a little bit of terror, then, you know, go buy yourself a convertible. Have your wife call me. So, all right, Kelly, thanks for your thoughts today.
Thanks, Bill.
And we'll talk to you next week, everybody, in the next short attention span webinar.